Good morning, everybody. We welcome to We Have Something to Say with Leonard, Watkins, and Kenneth Lively. Kenneth will be joining us here shortly. Uh, I'm sure we all are. I don't know, necessarily say stunned. Can be stunned anymore about this stuff this administration does, but we can be disgusted. You know, uh, late yesterday, President Trump just decided to declare an act of war that he's calling a law enforcement issue. Crazy thing about the United States and some people in the United States is they think that our laws cross boundaries all across the world, you know, and that by calling it a law enforcement issue instead of an act of war, they don't necessarily need congressional approval. And when you have a Congress that's capitulated to everything that they wanted, and provides no oversight, this is what you run into. I tend to sometimes in my thinking, I tend to not let people do stuff that's so make it complex. Like, it's geopolitical politics, it's geopolitical politics, this. When to me the answer is, if you look at it, it's simple. It could be very, very simple. And one of the things that it seems to me is that this has been fairly simple when you look at it from a point of view of good morning, Stacy. Hey, Stacy, listen, Stacy. Silence. You see, Stacy? Stacy, you want to know something? I put the same old damn battery back into the fire detector instead of the new one. So when you said something, I checked it again. It's like, you didn't put the new battery in here, dummy. But getting back to what I was saying, there's a simple reason why you're having so many members of Congress, in particular the Republican Party, not push back. And it all revolves around money. And I'm thoroughly convinced that every member of the Republican Party sees this as a chance for them to make money. Let me tell you why I say that. Let's say that Elon Musk is worth right now $726 billion. If I'm right, and Kenneth can correct me, there's approximately 450 members of the government, senators and Congress people. Half of those people don't have a lot of money. Half of those people, it's the senators, most of the senators are millionaires, and they're millionaires for a reason. They got to be millionaires once they got in office. But half of those congressmen, from Lauren Boebert to Margaret Taylor Greene to all those people, they have not before their congressional lives made a lot of money. They haven't. So if you can be somebody like Elon Musk, and you can come in, if you got $756 billion, and literally if it's 450 something, I'm just throwing out broad-based numbers, y'all. That's not specifics. If you literally decided you want to give each person in Congress $1 billion, each person, and you're Elon Musk, you still will be worth north of $300 billion. And 95% of those people in Congress couldn't even get to millionaire status on their own. They couldn't. They don't have the ability to make $1 million. 95% of them. So if you come in and you really want to be insidious, and I always tell people, think as evil as you possibly can, and you want to take control. And it's all about personalities and what people's characters are willing to do and are not willing to do. Because, Kenneth and I had this back and forth quite a bit. Where he says, man, you just do the right thing. I agree when I say agree when we say you just do the right thing. But all of us in our lives know that most people don't just do the right thing. They don't. Most people will sit back and let you do the right thing and will let you take the punishment for it and won't say a fucking thing. Even though you doing the right thing helps them. They're not going to take the punishment, though. They don't have the audacity to do the right thing. So now take all these Congress people. It's 8,000 billionaires, it's 700 billionaires in the United States. And not a 90, I'm willing to tell this is anecdotal evidence. I'm willing to tell you 98% of them don't have the ability to make $1 million in their lifetime. 98% of them don't have the ability, don't have the training, don't have the skill. They do not have, this is the highest paying job they will ever have with the perks. And he walks in and says, I can get you 20, not $1 billion, 20. Or he walks in and says, I can get you 5, not $1 billion, 5. Most of those people are not going to resist. And you can sit there and watch it by watching some of the people who capitulated. I'm willing to bet you Chip Roy took something. Chip Roy, who was a conservative, who you got an impression that he was standing for the right thing, who's just disappeared. Because they got to them and said, this is going to be your only time that you're going to be able to get into this upper echelon. And you do it by taking the resources of other countries. If you sit here and you watch what they're saying is the preliminary deal that Witkoff has negotiated with Ukraine, you realize it's just about the money. It's just about the money. Between Marco Rubio and everybody in that top portion of that administration, it's just about the money. Ukraine sends out something, I think I read somewhere, $800 billion a year in grain and other resources. And now they're renegotiating that. You get stuff like this Maduro thing, this rating of Venezuela. And this is what I was leading into, Marion, because they don't want to stop the money train. Because most of those people up in Congress, when they come, if they lose and they come back home, they can't. Where are they gonna work? What other job is gonna give them the perks and the salary of being in Congress? Some of y'all say they're lawyers, but it's hard being a lawyer right now. When you go from $175,000 with all the perks, and now you got to come back out and put a shingle out. You're not trying to give up that goddamn position, and you will, because you can't keep that type of lifestyle, you will start compromising some of your principles. You'll be a little quiet here, a little quieter there. That's why they won't close the loophole of stock trading. They won't close the loophole of stock trading because all them motherfuckers benefit off of it. All of them. And what they're going to try to do over the next 3 years is everybody's going to try to get in on the grift. And I refuse to believe that some Democrats aren't a part of this because they're the same ways. When they leave office, half of them, particularly if you're African American, what lobbying group do you all know that's super successful that's African American? Once they leave office, they got to come back and get jobs. David Scott has been unhealthy now, they're saying, what I'm reading, for over 10 years. Who do you think been propping David Scott up? His fucking staff. Them Negroes ain't trying to come back out and getting regular jobs. They're not going to do something like Kenneth. I don't think Kenneth knows sometimes how much I admire some of the stuff that he does when he says that. He keeps reinventing himself. They're not coming back to be teachers, no matter how much Kenneth says that's the right thing to do. Because they go, man, why the fuck I'm going to give you a teacher making a maximum of 80 when I'm sitting up here and I'm getting at least 150 just being a fucking staffer?
I don't think they make that much money. No, I'm saying staffers don't make that much money.
No.
Go ahead. They get perks. Yeah, they get perks, but they don't make their actual salary is not that much. But unless you're the chief of staff, the higher echelon of the staff. But in terms of whatchamacallit, I mean, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
And yeah, leaving that, but would be a step down. But who's to say if you do well? I agree with you on a lot of what you're saying. But there are staff members that can go and do things like Merwin Scott. Merwin Scott worked for Cynthia McKinney back in the day. Now he works for I forgot what, the teacher union or something like that. And I'm sure he's making more money now than he did when he was a staff member, because I think he was probably a junior staff member when he was there. So Because the reason why I say that is because there was always this thing that they wanted to raise the salary of staff members because they have to live in DC and they couldn't afford to live in DC. But I agree with what you're saying. It's all, there are some people in there who go to Congress to get rich. This is the best job they'll ever have. And they won't ever, it's the best job they'll ever have. And they won't ever make this type of a salary again. Congress people as well as the people, their staff members. Well, maybe not the staff members, but the Congress people themselves. Because look at what Marjorie Taylor Greene did. She retired. She told me she's leaving Congress and all that. But she's leaving. She left on January 1st or whatever day that was, January, sometime this month. And that's also the time that she got to, she starts collecting her pension because she's been in there for however many terms. I think it's you have to be in there 5 years or something like that, 2 terms.
That's
two,
it?
2.5 terms. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Something like that. That's why she's leaving now. It makes sense because now she gets the pension, and the pension is probably about 175. The pension is probably like $100,000 a year for the rest of her life, and probably still has the same health care too.
Well, no, I looked up the health care. So I looked up the health care. You don't get health care for the rest of your life if you're
okay.
And I thought, and I wanted to make sure because I saw that misinformation out there too. So I literally went back and looked it up, and I looked at they got great health care. They still have to pay.
Oh, they have.
Yeah, they still have to pay into it. They still comes out, but they don't get to keep it once they get their pension. That's not how it works. They can get a version of it, but they can't get the Cadillac pension. But
the point is, you still get $100,000, maybe more than that, a year for the rest of your life. That's a good living, especially for somebody like her, who's, I don't know if she has a degree, but she act like she don't have a degree. Not a degree makes you a smarter person or anything like that. But she ain't smart. It ain't what Calista been smart. She would have never made $175,000 in her lifetime.
Can we stop? Can we do this? I want to address what Marion said. Can we stop saying she's not smart? She's absolutely she's smart. Well, I don't know if she's ethical. She's smart enough to know that if I ride this grift like Trump, Brian says this all the time. Trump is not dumb. And I'm not saying she's smart in a good way, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she's smart enough to know that how I can grift the system to stay in power. And Marion, can you believe I just said Marion? Marion just said Congress hadn't received and raised in 16 years. That's crazy. You'll never get the best people. But then again, let me take that back.
Okay, so if you go into, I'll say this.
Let me take
if
that
you
back.
go into politics, if you go into politics to make money, you're in the wrong thing. Unless you can go in there for perks, you go get Congress or Senate or something like that, become a congressman or a senator or something like that. Yeah, there's perks to it. But most politicians, you don't really go in it to make money. Now, their salary compared to what if you're a politician in a local politician compared to what I make, yeah, that's a win for me. That's a step up big time for me. But I think we all go into it. Those people who go into it initially go into it with the right intentions, and they get caught up, like you said. Now, if you get caught up, why are you allowing yourself to get caught up? Let me ask that part. That's the part that I don't get. Our family owns Taylor Construction. I didn't know that.
And she owns a restaurant. She's not I think the point I'm trying to make, Kenneth, is there's a reason why you're watching so many people in Congress. I want to be careful because I don't want to say people aren't fighting this hard because they can't get airtime. But it seems to me that there's so many people in Congress right now on either side who won't take the chance to speak out. And the ones who do, like Bernie Sanders, I think is worth right now, Marion, $30 million. I think that's what I read. And so when you work $30 million and you have the platform he has, you can speak out. I think ALC raises way more money than anybody else in Congress on the Democratic side. It's not even close. But to people in the Congressional Black Caucus, you're not making the money that white congressmen are. And you would say, well, Leonard, where is that different anywhere else? My point being is a lot of these people will get comfortable and they won't fight because they don't want to lose their positions. Like, again, use David Scott. I haven't paid attention to David Scott since he got elected. He's been in there now for 24 years. And then they go to show that he hasn't voted on stuff on a regular basis in the last 6 years. And that he hasn't made any public appearances. I feel the same way about Hank Johnson it used to be your district.
Oh yeah, that useless piece of toilet paper.
Yeah. I feel the same. It's a lot of them. And then I realized that, well, man, if they lose, what are they gonna do? Like on a just a human level, what are they obviously not gonna be you. I'm going to reinvent myself. This is not just something that.
But the thing is this though. David Scott is in his 70s. Hank Johnson is at least 60 something. Because he's older than us.
Way older.
Much, but he's older. I don't think he's that much older than us.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I don't think he's that much older than us. He's probably like 60, 63, 64. But as because I didn't know what Marion said, that you have to be 62 to get your pension. I didn't know that. I thought you got it immediately. But even beyond that, whether you got to be 62 or not, those two guys are in their 60s. They qualify. So there's no need for them to stay in there and they're not doing anything. Hank Johnson, the only reason Hank Johnson got elected to begin with, because of the anti-Cynthia McKinney campaign. When she said whatever, when she went up against.
He's 71.
Oh, he's 71. Okay. I knew he was older than us. I didn't know he was that much older than us. But yeah.
2007.
Yeah. The only reason he got in is because of the anti-Cynthia McKinney.
Who ended up being right. Let's give her credit.
Yeah. Oh, she was.
She ended up being absolutely right. Absolutely. And we let people run Cynthia out because some of us didn't thought she had a big mouth. Some of us thought she was a mad, angry black woman. Some of us, the same shit we do to black women all the time. She was absolutely right. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. She's been proven absolutely unequivocally right.
And you know something that I found out a few years ago, and I'm not sure it's true, but the legislators from Georgia really don't do anything. I read something that in 1 year, nobody from Georgia, no legislator from Georgia, member of the House or the Senate, produced any legislation that got passed. Sponsored any legislation that got passed. Now, they were co-sponsors and all that, which is something different because you have a sponsor, somebody who comes up with the idea, and the co-sponsors are everybody else that signs on to it. But they didn't come up with an original idea that got passed. And that was a few years ago I saw that. And I was like, that's ridiculous. How can we keep electing people who are just there? Why do we keep electing people who are just there? They're not producing anything, not doing anything. Now, I will say this, they do add writers that benefit the community, but it's not that much. Like I will never, ever believe that the people who it wasn't that. And she hadn't even been in that long. She got it. Marion, I'm gonna get back to my point. So Marion, she got defeated because she made those comments against Israel, about Israel. That's what it was. And as Leonard said, she was right. She's been proven right. But getting back to what I was saying, oh man, you made me lose my train of thought, Marion. Anyway, the people who are elected aren't doing anything. We keep sending them again and again and again because of you remember that movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the plot was he got elected because he was a con man. And he got elected because he had the same name as the guy who was in there before him, and people just elected him without even looking and seeing what he looked like, knowing who he was or anything about it. Did fake commercials and all this other stuff. Well, they weren't fake commercials, but they commercials not showing himself. And then people just, well, oh yeah, who we normally like. Once one white person said, who we normally vote for. The husband said that. Wife said, "Oh, Jeff Johnson. Oh yeah, Jeff Johnson." They just went ahead and clicked it.
I think what the point I'm trying to make, so we don't get all off point, is the reason you have what happened last night with Maduro. The reason you have what happened last night is because you have a Congress that has totally capitulated to this administration.
Oh yeah, of course.
The question is why? And we make up all these reasons about why. Like why the Republicans capitulated. It's racism, it's this, it's that. A large part of it is for me, I can't see any is that a lot of them have been brought. And most of them, the amount of money they're throwing out, and I know this to be true because you and I talked when you corrected me. I said his name Silva, the candidate for New York mayor from the Guardian Angels. How you say his name, Kenneth? Curtis Silva.
Sliwa.
He got on a town hall and said they offered me $10 million in cash to drop out of the race. He said, and then it went to $20 million to drop out of the race.
I took the $20 million.
$20 million. He said, my wife is an attorney. So I had to start telling her. She said, you better not take that money. That money comes at a cost, and you're gonna put yourself in legal jeopardy. And he says these barons of the universe. And I know if they offered him 20, because 20 is nothing when you got 600 billionaires, 3 of them worth well over 800 bits. Now they're at $1 trillion. You keep wondering why Hakeem Jeffries won't stand back from Israel, and he gets up there, he says that stuff out loud. He allows himself to be filmed. Number one, he don't represent that many black people because most of us down here in the South. Number two, we aren't giving him money for his campaign. Number three, he likes where he is. He's not trying to go back out and hang out his shingles. McKinney did serve 2 terms in Congress. That's not what we're talking about. What we're saying is McKinney came out and started talking about Israel. McKinney was Cori Bush before Cori Bush. And McKinney has proven everything that we didn't back her on, typical black folks, everything we didn't back her on turns out to be true. And that's what we're talking about. So you get Maduro, because I know that's what Kenneth sent me a text to see what they did at Maduro. You have personality types. I told Brian today, if you believe that he was able to go in there and get Maduro and his wife, and that if you've ever go and look up the military compound without inside help from Venezuelans, you crazy.
Of course.
You crazy as hell.
Of course, they had inside help.
Right. And the reason they did is because he offered money. And it's always the lady that's talking about taking her spot. I'm no fan of that lady. Go look her up. Go look at some of the stuff she said. She wanted to pull a surprise. And I looked there, I was like, how? How she want to pull a surprise? She don't like us. Money.
It's all about money.
And
everything's about, and she's going to give rights to U.S. oil companies down there where so that they could United States gonna get a whole chunk of that oil too. And the crazy thing is our gas prices are not gonna go down because of this. None of this stuff that they're doing is going to help the American people at all.
Not a bit.
Not one bit. There's still going to be a huge flow of cocaine coming out.
Yep.
Yes. They're still not going to let no Venezuelans in. They're still going to deport them. All this shit. None of this is going to happen. None of this is going to affect us in one bit. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if gas prices go back up.
Gas prices are only low right now because there's no demand for it. If you want to follow somebody on Facebook or Instagram who talks about this, his name is Mr. Global. He's 30 veteran of the oil business, and he talks about this every day about this is where the barrel oil. Look at this chart. He breaks it down to you. You're right. It's not going to affect us. Cocaine, fentanyl, oil, all that stuff to these people are just commodities.
Well, fentanyl don't even come from that. Fentanyl comes from here.
My point being is just commodities. We make it a moral issue. We commodities. We make it we're commodities to those people. That's why those people should never have the power or the policy. Ever. Those billionaires should never be let them make their money, but I'm like Xi on that one. Xi in China. You'll never be bigger than the government policy, ever. Because we see what you'll do, which is why you saw Jack Ma from Alibaba disappear for a whole year. Because Xi said, no, you will never be bigger than the government of the people, no matter if you like our policies or not. You won't be the only one determining the policies for well over 5 billion, 4 billion. Well, how many people China has now?
A little under 2.
Right. And so now you have these series of billionaires. My theory, which what we started off of, is half those people in Congress. I think they're making, Marion, did you look it up? I think it's $177,000 a year. They haven't had a raise in 16 years. So I get one of my agents to walk up to you while you're at lunch, which is how it happens, or somewhere at your house, because somebody worth $756 billion can pay for a lot of goddamn people to approach you. Hey, I could just drop this $1 million, $2 million off in this Cayman account, but I need your vote for this. And if y'all don't think that happens, y'all crazy as hell. Because then people don't have any other way to make a living. How many people up there can you say was independently successful businessmen? I'm willing to look it up. I would love this. As a matter of fact, I might have to do that now. Kenneth talks about this all the time, about the state reps in Georgia. A lot of y'all own businesses, but they business like everybody else. They own the margins. They own the margins. But I'm coming in and I'm saying I'm going to drop $5 million into an account. And you would call it conspiracy theories, but Cynthia McKinney's right. Look at what AIPAC does now.
Well, if you elect me, I won't give in to the money.
Yeah, I believe you right now.
Right now, no. Actually, I'm not guided by money. If I was guided by money, I damn sure wouldn't be a teacher. I can tell you that much. Damn sure wouldn't be a high school teacher. I ain't doing it for the money. But so, I mean, I say this. Let's say this. We know the real reason why he invaded Venezuela. It's not about, as they're trying he hasn't said it yet, but because of that warrant the United States had out against him for narco-terrorism and all that stuff. They could have gotten him at any time if they really wanted him. It's not because they wanted regime change. They don't care about regime change. They don't care about Venezuela. They don't care about the Venezuelan people. It's all about so they can get control of the oil. The only problem with it is this. It's not going to benefit anybody. And they're going to try to...
well, it's not going to benefit us.
Well, let's say this. It's not going to benefit anybody of substance. Let's say that. Us, or the Venezuelans. It's not going to benefit them. Because what is going to happen is going to turn Venezuela's going to have a civil war. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have a civil war, and it's going to destabilize the country. And the United States is going to step in and help stabilize the country, but it's going to come at a cost. And that's it. They're going to take control of it.
They think this is the Monroe Doctrine. If it was about narco terrorism, this is how bad this is
actually it. Well, no, it's not. It's not the Monroe Doctrine, because the Monroe Doctrine told the Europeans they can't come over into the Americas.
Right, that we pretty much dominate this hemisphere. This part of the world.
But this is not about the West. I mean, the Monroe Doctrine. This is more about the. Oh shoot, who is this? I can't think of it. There's another one. I can't remember it. I'm about to start talking about this.
How you gonna bring it up and not tell us where to look for it at?
I'm trying to think of it.
Why are you thinking of it? If y'all think this is narco terrorism, if that not that you do, why did they let the Honduran president go? There's nothing to do. It's I believe this for a while. Mary, I'm interested to see what you think. I've always said nobody in the United States government is trying to stop the flow of cocaine from Colombia.
Oh, hell no.
All they're trying to do is get control of it. Nobody's going to stop. When you have Pablo Escobar, they're showing you a house somewhere in Colombia that every wall he has so much money that he can't even hide it. It's stacked to ceiling to the floor on every room. There's somebody in the United States government that's trying to get to that money, to use it for whatever purpose they want to use. It's not about that. I've always tried to have this conversation because I realized that my thoughts are radical and people go, man, you lost your damn mind. I've always said that Black African American community needs to be transactional because the community here where we are, with which we belong, because we fought and gave blood for, needs to be transactional how we deal with other groups. I'm not, you all, the dominant group has been going out using vice and drugs and liquor and all that stuff to build up capital counts since we've been over here. And they turned it and used it against us. And the only reason they're trying to control Colombian and Mexican cartels is because they want control of the product. They don't want to get rid of the product. They don't want to get rid of poppy seeds and
Afghanistan. If they can figure out a way to make money off of it legally, they would do it.
Right.
That's the reason why it took them so long to do weed. They were trying to figure out a way. Yeah, they were trying to figure a way to make money off of it legally, and they finally figured it out, which is sell it in stores.
They'll do it illegally. That's what the whole what's the show people love? Snowfall. I've never watched it. The Snowfall series, talking about Rick Ross. They'll do it illegally. It's not about getting rid of it. It's about controlling it because it's in a capitalist system. Drug money is a lot of money because there's demand for the drug. That's why I truly believe that cartels basically were switching the power structure around because they're trying to stay ahead of the U.S. military and U.S. businessmen who get it. They don't control it. They get a lot of deference from it to just get control of the product. That's all they want to do in Venezuela. They just want to get control of the product. Nothing more, nothing less. And everybody at the top of that administration is going to make money, just like they're doing in Ukraine. The crazy thing about it is they're not being prejudiced about who they do. They're doing white people the same way because they're doing Ukraine the same way they're doing Venezuela.
You want to control of their want control of their natural resources.
That's it.
That peace deal that they're coming up with that was written by somebody in the Trump administration basically gives the United States control over 80% of the Ukrainian minerals. And that right there is the same thing, which is kind of funny. That's what Putin wants. Control of the natural resources.
Putin wants, let me back up. Putin wants two things. Mary and I have had this conversation too. Putin has wanted a buffer, just like the United States has a natural buffer.
Oh yeah.
Putin wanted a buffer from NATO from day. Now getting that buffer and getting in minerals, can it be the same thing? Are they mutually exclusive? No. I'm just talking about what this administration is doing. This administration keeps saying.
No, what I'm saying, but he's doing the exact same. They're doing, the point I was trying to make is that they're doing the exact same thing, just through a peace treaty.
Just through a peace
treaty. They're going to gain. Yeah, that's it. Without that, using a pen instead of a sword. That's it. It's the exact same thing.
And Kenneth, and they sending a message to Greenland. They sending a message to all those people that don't think they'll come. You think I won't come and invade you? I just did Venezuela. And the thing that gets me about it when it comes to African Americans, I was just telling my daughter this yesterday. We're not even in the parking lot when it comes to some of this shit. Y'all say y'all want to see to the table. We're not even in the parking lot of a high-rise skyscraper where they're making the deals. You're not even a security guard. Because you don't have any unity.
Unity has nothing to do with that. Even if we did have unity, we wouldn't be sitting at the table.
No, wait a minute. No, you missed my point. Maybe I'm not articulating it well enough. Hold up. Is the president of Mexico next? More drugs come through Mexico than the US?
No. They ain't gonna do that. That's too much.
Why? I'm just curious why. I gotta hear this.
That would be, let's say this. The Mexican president, is duly elected. He has no justification for it.
She.
What?
President Sheinbaum. She's the first female. Is she the first female president? She's the first female president of Jewish descent.
Yeah.
She's also a Jewish Mexican.
what I was saying was she's duly elected. And they have, and she's been cooperating. And matter of fact, Mexico has been cooperating for years trying to stop the flow of drugs because it's the cartels.
Thank you, Stacey. He wasn't gonna hear it from me. Thank you, Stacey.
Unity is required, but it ain't got. Even if we were unified, we still wouldn't have a seat at the table. But getting back to my point about the president of Mexico, Mexico's being next, they're not gonna do it, Mexico. They're not gonna do it, and they're not gonna do Greenland. They're trying to figure out a way to do Greenland. They thought that, initially they were going to be able to just schmooze Greenland into saying, yeah, we want to be a part of the United States. Yeah, okay, it doesn't make a difference. It might be smaller, but what I'm saying is this: it's not going to happen.
And you go with that.
Not going to happen.
Salutes.
Hold up. The only thing I've only said that about a couple of things, and it happened.
Hey, when?
The Venezuela, I said Venezuela was going to happen. I said that.
You said that.
As soon as he turned that he was going to invade Venezuela.
But when they started,
When they started with the boats, I said that was going to happen. That was leading up to it.
I think our point is this. I want to say two things about Mexico. There are some TV shows that you sit there and you think to yourself, it's like a Tom Clancy novel. This is a tangent, y'all. When Tom Clancy wrote he did an interview and said when he wrote the book, The Hunt for Red October, the CIA brought him and the Pentagon brought him in and asked him who was his mole. Because there was no way he could give the description of a true story of that Russian Russian nuclear submarine and had the detail that he had. There are some people when they write stories, and that's why I used to trip about the Ozark on Netflix and the storyline. And one of the things that the drug kingpin was terrified of in Ozarks, absolutely terrified that the FBI kept threatening with, is bringing the U.S. military in on drug cartels. There's not a cartel in the fucking world, and I wish people would stop. Black people say this shit all the time. It pisses me off. There's not a drug cartel in the fucking world that is going to try to take on the U.S. military. They try.
Who said they will?
No, but people say that.
None of us say that shit.
No, people, not you. People say this all the time. They go, like my sister said, hey, will the drug cartel start trying to go after the administration? No, never. They will lose billions of dollars in cocaine sales before they will go after anything in the U.S. military. The last thing they want is because it wouldn't be surprised to me right now if the drug cartels have been sending money up here in the secret bank accounts and the Hexas, anybody else's account to keep them off that radar. Because they're like, it's enough money for everybody. It's enough money for everybody. Did Castro put a hit on Kennedy? The mafia was listed to put a hit on Castro, of course. And the U.S. military has never full-fledged went into Cuba. Because if they did, it wouldn't even be a war. It'd be over in 5 days. Nobody wants to be on the hit list of the U.S. military. Now, Israel, nobody. No one. You don't have the tonnage. Kenneth, you know that. When those generals decide to go
why are you bringing me in this shit? I ain't never said that.
I'm taking my tone as accusatory of you. I'm hoping you back me on and go, yeah, you're right. Not attacking you. I'm not attacking you. I'm saying you know that there's nobody that's no.
I agree. There's nobody wants that fight. I mean, when those two or three Americans got killed a couple of years ago in Mexico, mistakenly got kidnapped and then killed, and the cartel was quick to come up and say, "Oh no, we ain't had nothing to do with that. There was just two rogue women. They went and killed both of them publicly." That's the reason. We know that.
Yeah,
that's an obvious thing. They don't want to fight them. But
so when you
I will say this.
Oh, wait. When
I still don't think they're going to invade Mexico because they.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. They have no reason to do it. They have no reason to invade Mexico. Mexico, other than drugs, Mexico has in tourism. Mexico doesn't have anything the United States wants. They don't need tourism
except for cocaine.
And the drugs. They benefit from the drugs on the side anyway. So they don't need to invade. Venezuela has oil. They have oil.
Venezuela,
and that's a big commodity.
Venezuela has, okay, let's get into the nuances of that. And I'm going to say again, go follow Mr. Global. He talks about Venezuelan oil in his last 3 posts. He talks about how expensive it is, and what he talks about a different type of crude oil. He talks about sweet crude oil to sour crude oil. And he says that's not going to help the oil markets. He said, is it a grift? Yes, but it won't help the oil markets. It will make people a lot of money, but it's not what people think it is. But North Vietnam took on the U.S. military. Bin Laden took on the U.S. military. It took 20 years, and we got out without a victory.
That's because you have in those places. Usually, when we have the type of warfare that we're accustomed to, is we destroy your infrastructure, and then you bend to our will. That's it. We destroy your infrastructure. Vietnam didn't have much of an infrastructure. Afghanistan didn't have much of an infrastructure. Outside of the major cities, and even then, even the major cities, they really didn't have one. So
how about this?
You can't destroy if you don't have an infrastructure, and you're accustomed to destroying people's infrastructure. And then they bend to your will, and they don't bend because there's nothing to destroy. Because if I'm living in a bamboo hut or whatever they made their houses out of in Vietnam, in those areas, you bomb that, I'll build another one tomorrow, or whatever. It's not something where that you can't win that type of war, doing that type of warfare.
Can I say
and
something?
You keep killing more people. There's more people there. I'll say this: in Palestine, the Israelis, what they did, they realized that just bombing the city, bombing Gaza wasn't enough. They had to starve the people.
Wait. I want to add on to that. I'm glad you said that. My viewpoint is that United States and Hegseth has said this openly this year, y'all. The United States, and they have to go on with rules of engagement. They aren't brutal enough. They're brutal. When you think about Vietnam, you remember the My Lai massacre.
Mm-hmm.
But when were they letting soldiers literally go animalistic, which I don't want. I don't want that, to subdue a population in Afghanistan. And if you do it and you have the tonnage, if you do it, you have the tonnage of weapons to pacify people. What you're seeing in Gaza is pure brutality. It's pure brutality. There's no other word for it. It's pure brutality. It's starvation. It's bringing buildings down on kids. And it's saying we don't give a flying fuck what the rest of the world says. It's pure. And they have pacified those people to a certain degree. Pacified enough that it looks like they're about to put them out. So my thing with you all has always been, okay, how does it affect our community over here? Because I think they send messages. I think everything you get right now is a message to shut up. We'll come do it to you. Leonard and Kenneth Lively, we'll come do it to you if y'all get big enough. Because the only thing that's going to save you is notoriety. This government, this administration sends out messages every day. And that message yesterday was a message to everybody. None of you all are safe.
Well, see, this is the only problem with all of this. And this is something I wanted to talk about before we got on.
Go ahead.
This opens the door for the same shit to happen to us.
Exactly.
Because it's what we're doing is setting a precedent that says, hold on one second.
Hell no. Hell no. I don't know what you mean when you say hell no, not Madon. I think that what he's trying to say is, don't think it. We have to stop thinking it can't happen over here. That's been our problems. We
we can go into a country and go into a country and snatch a leader that's been accused of a crime.
They did that in Noriega.
Yeah, they did Noriega, I know. But now Trump is doing it. So now we're saying, okay, it's legal if somebody puts a warrant out for, let's say they put a warrant out for Trump, and Trump goes to a country, a country can try to have him arrested. If he goes to Venezuela, if Venezuela puts out a warrant for his arrest, they can actually try to arrest him when he comes to Venezuela. And according to him, that's the precedent. We've set the precedent. Now, with Noriega, back in the day, they sort of forgave that. Venezuela, I don't think is going to forgive that. No matter how bad Maduro was to his people, I don't think they're going to forgive it. I don't think they may not do a warrant, but I don't see. The thing is this. I don't think it, because every time the United States does this whole thing, we're going to liberate the people and they're going to welcome us with open arms. That shit never works out.
And it never stops.
It never works. It never works out.
It doesn't.
So what we're doing is setting it up for people, Americans, to get hurt, to get kidnapped, to get killed.
Wait.
Because there's enough Americans down there. There are Americans that live down there. Hell, I've known people who've gone to Caracas for vacation.
I know somebody.
There's no way in hell I would go. There's no way in hell I would go near Venezuela now.
I know somebody in Caracas right now. I know, but look, they also black. And, you know, black lives don't mean as much. Everybody around the world knows that black lives don't mean as much to everybody else. Now, that happened with that cartel because Trump was itching to go into Mexico anyway. Like you said, the cartel was like, no, that wasn't us. Because they knew Trump was itching.
Actually, that wasn't the Trump administration. That was the Biden administration.
Yeah.
That was 24.
Black American lives don't mean much. So you could be in Caracas. Them Hispanics ain't about to mess with you because you're a Black American. They just, come on, man. But I will say this. Don said that, they're punching down. Don said two things that I want to address. The administration must not be planning on traveling. Man, Putin, y'all are forgetting what Putin has done in the last 10 years. Putin has literally went on Sovereign Soul and killed people with that plutonium, whatever they discovered, that's so deadly that if anybody gets near it, they'll die. He's done that to people sitting on benches and there was no retaliation. Like Don said, they punching down. This administration not gonna be scared to travel nowhere because it ain't a fool on the planet that's gonna shoot Air Force One out the sky and want to be blamed for it. Not even North Korea.
What I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is this. I didn't say it was going to happen. I said it opens it up for it. It opens it up for it. It's one of those things that if you get you have to be careful about where you go. Like, what's his name? What's that fool name? Netanyahu? He has a warrant from an international court. Guess where he flies to? Name the only country he's ever flown to since that happened.
What, the U.S.?
That's it.
But
he ain't going nowhere else. He ain't going nowhere else.
Yesterday, I read that Netanyahu decided to open up a front in Nigeria because he says he's protecting Christians. Let me make sure that's true. What I'm saying, I agree with Don on this one.
Man, they always punching down.
Yeah,
they'll never attack nobody, no big country.
And the narrative is never true. Brian and I had this conversation this morning. He's like, "What he said, Noriega." I said, which media outlet right now do you believe the way they've been consolidating media outlets? I believe TikTok more than I believe media outlets. At least people on TikTok film it. At least they film it. I don't believe anything CBS is putting out right now. It's run by the Ellisons and his son, Paramount, CBS. They trying to buy CNN. They trying to buy HBO. I don't believe anything they say right now. What narrative can I believe? Weiss is running CBS. We know that she's a hack. What narrative do we have? There are no more black newspapers. There are no more black news outlets that they were when the 60s was rolling because we didn't support them. It's the same goddamn thing over and over and over again. We can't get our own news source because we don't support them. The white man's ice is colder than ours. We never support people who are trying to get us accurate, unbiased news that will affect our community.
Well, the only problem is the black newspapers, as well as most newspapers around the world, people don't read newspapers anymore.
They don't.
That's one thing.
They don't, but they're transitioning to black outlets.
But the thing, hold on. This is the thing I'm trying to say. They rely on white news organizations for their stories. Now, if it's a local story, yeah, they can do that. But they rely on white news organizations to get their stories out.
Can you say something, Marion?
Or to get the stories.
White Americans will be snatched up. I got a friend in Caracas right now. I was just texting with him yesterday. So you better be careful down here. He's like, I'm good. That's what he told me. I'm good. Now, this is before they snatched up the president. But they're going to go down there and form so much dissent. And that lady down there who just won the Nobel Peace Prize is so backing and has been so open about the U.S. military intervention because she wants to do whatever it has to take to get Maduro out of power.
She didn't open a can of worms that she's never going to be able to contain.
Right, because before who was before Maduro? It was the other guy. What was the other guy they didn't like?
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, shoot, I don't know why we forgot his name. His name was in the U.S. news every day up until he died. The narrative is never going to be right. The question is, what are we going to do about it again? And I agree.
Nope.
That just opens up the gate for them to start doing stuff to us.
Mary, you see the last thing he said? Well, we'll be watching. Hell no. What the hell are we going to watch for? We already know what the hell he's going to say.
I'm not going to watch that lying piece of shit. That man is never going to tell the truth. The only thing
we already know the truth.
Right.
There's nothing he can say that's going to change how I feel about what he did. Nothing.
Right. He has
nothing.
Lost. He has made the presidency. It used to be you respected the presidency. He has taken it to the point where I don't even respect the presidency. And because he lies so much. And the only thing, the thing that gets me about President Trump is this. He's the only thing holding that together. He's the only personality up in that administration that can hold together that MAGA cult, which is why they keep trying to prop him up health-wise.
Which is also the reason why I said if he dies, it's going to fall apart.
It's going to fall apart. I agree with you. It's going to fall apart.
It's going to fall apart. Everything's going to fall. Everything's going to go to shit. There's going to be some infighting between all of them. And they're going to destroy each other, destroy that movement from within. The rest of us ain't got to do shit. All we got to do is this motherfucker dies. That's it for them. And they know that shit. They know it.
They know it.
The only ones who don't know it is their stupid ass followers. They're the only ones who don't know that shit. The rest of us know. Or at least some of us should know anyway.
If you all get a chance, if you have Substack, Curtis Yarwin, the philosopher that's behind all this stuff, did a whole essay yesterday, terrified, saying the Trump administration has a tragedy. This administration that he put up there, because basically what he said is they lost the momentum to break stuff and to lie and to keep getting stuff accomplished. And that people like him, his words, look it up, people like him better get out of the country. Better get out of the country for next November. That's what he said. People like him and people who put this stuff in place and all the people who believe, they better get out of the country. They better find a place to go. They better. You can't convince me that the U.S. had to go after Venezuela since we know Colombia. The cartels paid him off. I'm telling y'all, the cartels are smart. It's more than enough cocaine money to pay off the administration, the people in the administration, to keep the Trump administration off their ass. What is the percentage of self-thinking Americans out there who can put 1 + 1 together? I don't think that that's the cause. I stopped thinking that's the cause a long time ago. The question should be how many courageous Americans are willing to put themselves on the line like they did in the 60s to make sure this shit doesn't happen. It's not that can they think 1 + 1 is 2. It's how many people, as Marion says all the time, how many people will get out of their comfort zone to say, I'm willing to put myself on the line for this. I just responded to a classmate, me and Kenneth's classmate, whose husband's a pastor. He posted this morning about MLK. And I literally had to say to him, Pastor, Reverend, Martin Luther King led the fight. He would get out in front. He wasn't preaching from the choir and then staying in the church. He was getting out in front of the marches. He was putting his life on the line. So it requires more than just pastors sitting there saying, oh, this ain't. No, you're going to have to lead the march. Well, we don't have that type of pastors anymore. Though they're gone. maybe except for Reverend Barber. And Reverend Barber could barely get around because his health is so bad.
I hadn't seen him in a while either.
Yeah, he's morbidly obese. He's a brilliant thinker. He's a brilliant man's brilliant, but his health wise, he can't get around like that. And like Don said, the cartels and the Mexican cartels will pay. If you don't think there's all kinds of I don't get it. Will the international community hold up? Will the international community hold up? No. He keeps sending.
You saying after Trump's term?
After Trump's term?
Yeah. It won't make a difference after that. Really and truly, it really won't make a difference after his term is over, whether or not the international community holds, because they're not gonna hold the United States accountable. They're not gonna hold the United States accountable because they know whoever comes in next, which will probably be a Democrat, is gonna reverse all this bullshit.
Don. There's no way you believe that the Colombian cartels want to be on the radar of the U.S. American military. It's just no way. It's no way for anybody to believe that anybody wants to be on the bullseye of the U.S. military. It's no way. The firepower is so overwhelmingly great. The technology is so overwhelmingly great. The Colombian cartels might have 100 drones. The U.S. military probably has hundreds of thousands of drones. The U.S. military has hundreds of thousands of planes. And they will have the backing of the public. That narrative is so easy to build against Colombian cartels. The Mexican cartels don't want the U.S. military. They don't want to be on that radar. Shenenbaum doesn't want to be on that radar. And I think they don't want it. Whatever bloodshed you think that they can cause, what would you say? They've been there, but we don't want that smoke here. This administration may. I always ask you and Kenneth this question. What evidence have you been given by this administration that they aren't willing to break the norms and to turn it into a gift? What? This administration, in my humble opinion, I haven't seen any evidence that there was an assassination attempt. We haven't heard anything about the kid. We haven't had any committee. We haven't seen any medical records on Trump. We haven't had any. So what evidence has been shown that that was a true assassination attempt? This administration and these people are insidious. And it's time for people to start thinking out of the box about what they will do and what this administration and these guys will do. This administration shut down 85 boats that you've had every expert saying, them boats can't even go 200 miles. How the hell are they supposed to get to the U.S. coast, which is 1,500 miles? You had an admiral step down. He said, hey, we're not sure that these are even drug guys. These might be civilians. How are you distinguishing between the two? And Pete Hegseth said, I don't give a damn. That's the sacrifice we're going to make. I don't get it. But then again, I've watched my community not willing to be accepting of the realities that's sitting in front of them. We watch it in real time. We aren't above that thinking. We aren't above the thinking that I don't want to sacrifice because I'm too comfortable. So I just don't understand where y'all see the evidence. And that's all I ever said. Well, show me the evidence. That's what they'll do. When are Americans going to learn? It's not about bombs. Throughout human history, those that have had most of the weapons, the only thing holding this administration together is him. It's him. Who is Stephen Miller going to stay on with if Donald Trump dies? Not J.D. Vance. Not anybody. He's got to move to Israel. It was easy to talk about deadly games when they weren't any actions actually happen. How does this administration react when it comes to the need cycle that people actually start dying because they knocked down the wasp nest? You kind of lost me on that. It was easy to talk about deadly games when there weren't any actions actually happening. What do you mean? There's not look, man. El Salvador was the most dangerous place on the planet for the last 10 years before this new guy got in. And this new guy got in, and he had administration support from the Biden administration, whether people want to say it or not. And now he has the might of the U.S. military behind him. And MS-13 has been pacified in El Salvador. They have cut deals with this new guy. They have literally cut deals with this new president, who now is calling himself the president for life, the new young president. They have literally cut deals with him. Literally cut deals with them. Because they don't want that, as you said, Kenneth said, they don't want that smoke. They're not trying to have 10,000 American troops come on this hemisphere to start stuff. There's not a cartel in the world that could live with that. Not one. And they don't want them to. They just want to be able to control the product. They don't want them to. They just want to be able to control the product.
All right, listen, man, it's 11 o'clock. I got to get on the road. It was something I was going to say. Oh, before I go, there's one thing. Yesterday, well, over New Year's, I was in Puerto Rico. And when the Remix and I were coming back to Puerto Rico, we had an Uber driver. And there's a young lady. And we were talking, and somehow we got on the subject of statehood for Puerto Rico. Oh, we were talking about the infrastructure, and how that the hurricane that came out in for Trump's first administration, they still haven't really recovered from it because they had all these. She was saying that they had all these companies that came in. An American and Canadian company came in and said they were going to provide, help upgrade the infrastructure in terms of the electrical grid and all that stuff in Puerto Rico, and they haven't done it because they fired all the people who had been there for a while, or really didn't fire them. They made them start over in terms of tenure. So somebody's been there 15, 20 years. You started off at day one instead of, okay, I got 20 years with the Puerto Rican company, working toward my pension and all this. They made them start over at zero again, so they wouldn't be able to receive their pension and all that, and all that type of stuff in terms of finances, in terms of their salary and all that. So a lot of people quit. And she said the company that came in there doesn't know anything about the island grid or how to do things in terms of providing the electricity and all the other needs they have in Puerto Rico based on what you do on an island, not what you do on the mainland. Island grid, island electrical system is totally different. And she said they still have power outages, which I think is crazy. They still have power outages all the time. She said at least a couple of them a week. And like I said, I thought that was crazy as hell. And they still don't have power in some parts of the island, up in the mountains and all that stuff. So I was saying that to say this. When she started talking, and we were talking, and we moved on to the subject of, statehood versus independence versus staying how they are. And I was trying to get a feel for, what do the people think? Because I've been fascinated by this whole status of Puerto Rico for years, and the fight for statehood or independence or staying where they are. And she said everybody's all over the place. There's no consensus among the people. That's why they haven't had it. But one thing that she did tell me that I had never heard before is that everything that comes to Puerto Rico that's imported to Puerto Rico has to go to the United States first, and then they ship to Puerto Rico. She said if we want something from Dominican Republic, it's a couple of hours away. It has to go to the United States first so they can get their money, and then they'll ship it here at a much higher cost. So everything here is expensive. I thought that was quite crazy considering, they could do their own trade with other countries right down the street, right down, a couple of hours away without having to go to the United States and then increase the cost. So I mean, it was just a fascinating conversation. And we were only in the car for maybe like 10 minutes, but she taught me a lot about what's going on in Puerto Rico and the challenges that they have because they are affiliated with the United States. And I don't remember, is Puerto Rico a territory? Is it considered a territory? Or I'm not sure of the official status.
Because they can vote.
It is considered a territory.
And they're considered citizens, they can vote.
Yeah, I know they're citizens. I know that much, and they can vote and all that. I know that, but
Like
I thought they had another. I thought there was another category other than a territory that they were part of. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but anyway, it's very interesting the history of that island and how they've been mistreated over the years and still been mistreated by the United States. Um, and the other question that I had, where I didn't get a chance to ask her was, because she was in support of independence. Um, the question was, would the United States allow them to gain their independence? That was something that I really wanted to answer that question, but we got to the airport, and I didn't get a chance to ask her. And I think that's a fascinating question. The whole thing about territory is fascinating to me in these days and times, because there are benefits to being American citizens, Puerto Ricans being American citizens. Um, but there's also drawbacks considering all the other stuff that they have to do. So it's just something that was on my mind. And like I said, when we had the conversation with it, and I wanted to bring that up. So that's it, bro.
All right,
I got
man.
to get out. I got to get out this hotel room. It's time for me to go home.
All right, Joe. We're gonna call it a day. I got something I got to do too. Let's see how we're gonna survive. Well, we're gonna survive. Let's see how this shakes out at the end of the week. We need to start figuring out how this is gonna shape out for our community. We need to be laser-like focused on our community.
Man, we gonna get the short end of this shit like we always do.
We do, man, but
it's not gonna. We already said it's not gonna benefit us.
You gotta go. You gotta go. You're gonna start holding the conversation. All right, so
yeah, I am. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good week. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully you had a great holidays. On Monday, as they say, Soul to Soul used to say, back to life, back to reality. It starts all over again. So y'all have a good one. See y'all next week. Deuces.
Bye, y'all.